Good evening, everybody. I'm Bret Gallaway, and I have the honor of sharing a few stories with you about the lessons I learned about caring, sharing, and daring leadership from Wendi Strong, who I worked for 8 years at USAA. About 5 years ago, after hosting a big press conference, Wendi asked for feedback. She loves feedback. She can't get enough. And I told her she was great, and she was really brilliant. But Wendi knew I was holding something back. She knew there was some criticism that I really didn't feel comfortable giving. So she pushed me until I gave it to her. Finally, I said, well, Wendi, your hair was in your face. Now, show of hands, how many men have good luck with that advice? But a few weeks later, well, actually, right directly after that, she looked at me right in the eye, and she kind of cocked her head and said, wow, thank you very much. And a few weeks later, she followed up after another event, and she said, did you notice that I pulled my hair back? And I thought, well, that's pretty humble, and that's pretty cool that she came back and, to me, followed up to demonstrate to me that she was listening. And that's Wendi. So caring leadership. In addition to being Mentor of the Year, Wendi could be Mother of the Year, she could be Friend of the Year, Citizen of the Year. She is so thoughtful and loving and a wonderful person to work with and work for. So committed to family, hers and others. One time she asked me what I was giving my wife for Christmas. And I said, well, I don't know. Sue wants an iPhone or she wants a Coach purse. And I asked Wendi for her advice on which one to give. And it was the only order Wendi ever gave me directly. She said, you will not give her one or the other, will you give her both? And I did. And finally, daring. One day, Wendi learned that an executive title review at our organization would result in a demotion for some of her team, including me. That was a surprise for her. It was a surprise for all of us. She had not been part of the process, and she was on fire, understandably so. A few weeks later, our CEO left the organization, and Wendi's first order of business with the new CEO was to restore our titles. Now imagine that. Of all the priorities you have with your new CEO as the Chief Communications Officer, your first priority was to restore the titles of your team. We all got our titles back. It was a really gutsy move, and I obviously still remember it to this day. I left USAA 2 years ago, and people say you don't leave your job, you leave your boss. And I promise you that is far from the truth. I did not leave my old job because of Wendi Strong. I got my new job because of Wendi Strong and all that I learned from her. So ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud to present to you our 2014 Planck Center Corporate Mentor Awardee, my friend, advisor, cheerleader, and mentor, Wendi Strong.
Oh my gosh. You know, I had a speech written for tonight, and I thought it was going to be fine until I learned earlier this evening that the award that I was going to be given was to be named after Jack Coton. I cannot tell you how humbled I am by that. And I cannot tell you how humbled I am to stand in front of this group of the giants in our profession. I mean, one of the real privileges we have at this point in the development of the field of PR is that the people who created our profession, the people who founded our associations, the people who wrote our textbooks, and the people who taught us everything we know are still with us, many of them, and many of them are here in the room with us tonight. So how lucky are we? We truly stand on the shoulders of those who come before us, and I am definitely doing that tonight. I did not know Jack Coton, and I know a lot of you here did. But I wanted to do my best, and so I hope you'll bear with me, to do credit to Jack Coaten, one of the real greats, one of the most impressive, committed people to who has ever been in this profession. So I hope you'll bear with me. I've learned a lot about him tonight, just in this short time that I was aware that this award was going to be named after him. And I think it's very fitting that this mentorship award is actually named after him, since he was a mentor to so many, probably many of you in this room, and he was a mentor to Betsy Plank. I do remember when Jack died earlier this year. I remember the reaction of his friends and colleagues who so clearly loved him dearly, who respected him, and marked his passing with the kind of grief that follows the loss of a truly great man. All of you know that he was one of the founders of the Page Society, which is really all about mentoring each other and mentoring new CCOs. And that was an organization that I joined when I first came into my leadership role, and that helped me with so much of what I was challenged with as a new leader. And many of you who are in this room are part of that organization, and all of you have mentored me in one way or another. Jack was probably the spiritual father of corporate responsibility in America. I know he was very committed to philanthropy and especially to the arts. And he really put forward the idea that corporations were obligated to do societal good, something that was a new idea in the 1960s, 70s, something that we take for granted today. So in seeking to learn about Jack Coaten tonight, I went and talked with his children, Sarah and Mark Coaten, who are here with us tonight. And I have to tell you that any of us who are parents would want nothing more than to hear our children talk about us in the terms that they talk about their father. He was loving, he was always positive, and he sounds like the greatest people person who ever walked the face of the earth. He believed that people could do anything, and that's really what this program is about tonight, helping others feel that they can do anything. And he was an advocate for everyone. They confessed to me that they didn't really know what he did, because when he came home from work at night and they asked about his day, he started with, "Well, let me tell you who I had lunch with today." And he would start talking about someone, Roger Bolton, Ron Culp, one of his colleagues, one of his friends, and he talked about these people that he had contact with during the course of the day and how impressed he was with them and how much he learned from them and how he admired them. And he brought those lessons back into their home. One of the things that Mark and Sarah told me was that he would be so proud of the fact that this award was being named after him, and he would be so happy to know that this group of people were together tonight and thinking about him, because they said, these are his people. We are his people. Jack was also a champion for women in our profession, as I understand. So that makes it extra special for me to be able to accept this award tonight. And I see Ann Barkley nodding. I'm deeply humbled. I'm honored to receive this award in Jack Felton's name, and on behalf of all the professionals who have benefited from his extraordinary life. So I want to say thank you to the Plank Center Board. Thank you to my team, past and present, who are here with me tonight. Most of all, thank you to all the people in this room who have mentored me, coached me, taught me, and inspired me. So in memory of Jack, I would ask that we all redouble our efforts to serve others, to remember that it's important that we think everyone who comes across our path can do anything, and that we convey that to them, that we inspire people, that we motivate people, that we lead people, and that we love people. Thank you very much.